Today, we're digging into a powerful story about language. It's a kind of parable, really, about how one single clever word, a word that was meant to be a shield, can end up causing just unthinkable destruction.
And that brings us to the big question for today's explainer. Is it really possible for one little word, even one with good intentions, to literally set the world on fire? Well, this isn't just some hypothetical question. It's the very heart of a story where the stakes couldn't be higher.
So here's how we're going to break this down. We'll start with a high-stakes game of wits. Then we'll see a fatal slip of the tongue, and after that, we'll get inside the mind of a dragon and dissect its cold logic. From there, we'll watch a riddle turn into an inferno, and finally, we'll talk about the real, heavy weight that our words can carry.
Okay, let's dive in. Picture this. We're deep inside a lonely mountain, in the dark, treasure-filled lair of an ancient, terrifying dragon. And standing before this immense beast, Smaug, is a tiny hobbit named Bilbo Baggins. And the only weapon he has? It's his mind.
Yeah, this is not your typical battle. There are no swords, no armor, no physical strength that can help him here. Bilbo's survival, and that of his friends, depends completely on his ability to be clever with his words, to use language as a weapon to confuse and as a shield to protect.
And this is absolutely key to understanding Bilbo's mindset. For him, this is all just a riddle game, you know? It's a contest of clever phrases, something fun and contained. He has no idea, not yet, that his words are about to break out of that game and have devastating consequences in the real world.
And this brings us to the exact moment where the game of wits just completely goes off the rails. This is where one clever title becomes something so much more dangerous. An unintentional confession. And here it is, the word, the phrase at the very center of this whole catastrophe. Barrel Rider. When the dragon demands to know who he is, Bilbo, feeling pretty proud of himself, comes up with this title. He thinks it's perfect, it's mysterious, it's evasive, it's clever.
I mean, from Bilbo's point of view, this was a genius move. It was true, right? He did ride in a barrel, but it was also so obscure. He thought he'd just created the perfect linguistic shield to hide who he was, where he came from, and most importantly, who helped him get there.
But here's the thing. What Bilbo saw as a brilliant protective shield, the dragon, Smaug, saw as something else entirely. We're about to witness this incredible collision between two completely different ways of thinking, Bilbo's playful riddle game and Smaug's cold, hard, geopolitical reality.
Now, it's so important to remember, Smaug isn't just some dumb beast. He's an ancient intelligence. He has this perfect, almost encyclopedic knowledge of all the geography around his mountain. So he doesn't hear a riddle, he hears a clue. He's thinking like a detective, not a monster.
And this table just lays it out perfectly. It shows the tragic, fatal gap between what Bilbo intended and what Smaug understood. What Bilbo meant as a weedy dodge, Smaug heard as a geographical fact. The linguistic shield? To Smaug, it was a confession. That clever little riddle became a map, pointing the dragon right to his next target.
And here's how Smaug's mind works. It is flawless, ice-cold logic. Barrel Rider. Okay, that means travel by river. The only river around here is the Forest River. And where does that river come from? Oh, right from the direction of the men of Laketown. The conclusion for Smaug is simple and immediate. They must have helped these thieves.
At this moment, the game is well and truly over. Smaug sees right through the trick. He actually laughs at Bilbo for thinking he was being so clever, for not realizing that he just handed over an entire town on a silver platter. The dragon has his target.
And this is the pivot point. Language is no longer a game. It has now become the direct spark for all-out war. The conversation is over, and the consequences are about to become terrifyingly real.
Smaug's rage, which was just ignited by that one little piece of information, transforms everything. The metaphorical heat of this tense little chat inside the mountain is about to become a very, very literal inferno unleashed on the world outside.
And this is what's so terrifying about dragon logic. Smaug can't find the dwarves, who he sees as the masterminds of this whole plot, so he decides to do the next best thing: punish their helpers. The poor people of Laketown who were barely involved or about to feel the full, horrifying force of a dragon's revenge.
Just one, a single community, a whole city built on a lake, is now going up in flames. And it's all because of one riddle, one clever word spoken in the dark. This is the tragic, unforgettable lesson for Bilbo about the true power his own voice can have, whether he intends it or not.
So now we get to the final moral of this whole parable. This is where the consequences ripple outwards, and our hero is forced to really look at what his actions and his words have caused.
Because with the burning of Lake Town, the whole story changes. What started as this fun private adventure, a quest for gold, has now exploded into a massive public disaster. Thousands of innocent people are now suffering, and Bilbo has to face the fact that he played a central role in making it happen.
And that once clever name, Barrel Rider, is now totally transformed. It's not a badge of honor for his wit anymore. Now it's a symbol of a painful, brutal lesson. That being clever and having good intentions just isn't enough in a world that is way more complicated and dangerous than a simple riddle game.
This is the real turning point for Bilbo as a character. It's a harsh way to come of age, isn't it? A maturity that's born from a terrible mistake. He learns, in the most gut-wrenching way possible, that his words have the power to burn cities to the ground. And this really brings us to the core lesson of the whole parable. Being witty isn't enough. True mastery of language demands so much more. It requires understanding your audience, understanding the context, and understanding the immense responsibility that comes with every single word you speak. Wit without wisdom, well, it's just dangerous.
And that's the thought we'll leave you with. The story of the Barrel Rider is a timeless warning for all of us. It's a grim reminder that our words, even the ones we think are safe, whispered in the dark, they have a way of getting out. They have consequences we can't always predict, and they will, eventually, come to light.